What's up? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com, and I have a very good, very important video for you today. We're talking about buying a home, we're talking about building wealth, and we're also going to be talking about the mindset. Now, there's stuff, reason why I'm making this video is because I had an individual, actually a business client of mine, where I actually helped him with his credit back in 2008. Like, he came to me with a goal, and he was like, hey, I need to fix my credit because I want to buy a business. I want to get into business. He had worked for other people in his community, and he was like, it's time for me. I see them with money. I see them enjoying life. I want to have money and I want to enjoy life. I'm going to be getting married. I want to have kids. And I was like, okay, let me look at your credit. Let me look at it. And I said, you need to do this, 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 and this. Now, one of the things that usually happen with my business clients over customers that are just regular, you know, general consumers that are customers, is that a business owner, someone that's looking to own a business or to do that, they're very focused at that time because they have a goal in mind. Like, even if you come to and you want to repair your credit, sometimes just having that surface thought of repairing your credit is not good enough. You got to be like laser focused, and that means that whatever comes about, you're willing to actually follow through on that process. And for business owners that we deal with a lot, you know, I would say 100% of them are laser focused, and they're like, hey, if I say do this, they do it. They don't even question it. Some of the times with consumers, I'm not saying all, but some of the times with consumer clients is we say, well, this is the next step, and they're like, they start to pull back. And I believe that it's because they just don't have that full awareness of what it's going to take. And they're not used to taking risk. Like, some of the things that have to be done, even though it's not a risk on what we're telling you to do that's going to get it done, it's a risk on them, because if, let's just say, for example, you have a collection and you know you want to move forward. We've done everything to verify, validate, with bureaus, with furnishers, and then the next step that we tell you is we need to go into a settlement process. But sometimes people look at stuff on YouTube and they think, well, I shouldn't settle because it's not going to do any difference on my reports. It's not going to, my score is not going to go up. They're going to look at it. Another creditor is going to look at it, and it's not going to do any good for me. And I'm here to tell you that that's a lie. If anything on your report is if it's removed, it's great. But if it's on your report and it's settled and there's still some problems with them removing it, which it would happen over time, but let's just say right now you're trying to buy a house, you need to have it resolved, because the underwriter will not care as long as it's resolved. So stop believing what these other people are telling you about not settling accounts here on YouTube. Now, so he came to me in 2008. We fixed the credit. His main goal was to buy a business. At that time, he bought a business. It was a convenience store. Later, now, as of yesterday, texted me on my phone, I need to talk to you. Kept calling. I was in meetings. He was blowing my phone up. He was saying, I need to get this done. And when I called him back, I said, okay, what's going on? And he was like, hey, how you been doing? Forgive me for blowing up your phone. He was updating me about his businesses that he bought, even though I know, because I've had my reps from the other companies go and visit him. But since then, he's bought a pizza place, and he's also bought a chicken place. So he had sold to other companies, and he has these two businesses making very good money. Living the life that when he first came to me in 2008, living the life that he dreamed of, and making good money, and has a family, has kids. But now there's a new problem. He wants to buy a house. And I was kind of surprised that he did not have a house. And he ran into what I told people about in yesterday's video and the video I did before. Look them up. Go under my playlist and look up how to buy or mortgages or buying a home. You're going to see the videos that talk about this. And people are just not letting it sink in, because if you don't do certain things, you're not going to get approved. And let's just automatically income. If you don't have income, you're not going to get a house. I don't care what any people tell you about buying homes, no money down and all that stuff. There's ways to do it, but it's not the way that you're thinking. It's a lot of work. But before we move forward on, I want to show you something that might let it sink in on the value of buying a home and getting this done if you're looking at doing it. But I want to bring you up on your awareness, because I think that what happened with him is he's aware of the business, making money over here, but his awareness was not in the right place on getting ready to buy a home. Because they said, the way your credit is right now, you're not approved. And I told him, I said, remember I said, when you get your credit repaired, you need to bring your level of awareness up. And he had asked me about, well, what do you, I didn't really understand. I just thought, I get my business now and then I don't have to worry about my credit anymore. And I was like, you do got to worry about your credit, because the way that you're judged in the financial world, they're going to look at your credit and other opportunities you may not even be able to get into because of what you've done with your credit. So you got to take care of your credit. And I said, look at your actions. I just broke it down to him. We went down his credit report, like just line by line. He didn't even want to know what was on there. He told me his credit was bad, but he didn't even know how bad it was. And he was like, how many collections? And I was thinking, when I get this report, it's going to probably be 2 or 3 collections. 2 or 3 was like my extreme. I was really saying it's going to probably be 1 collection. He just need to get it wiped away and he's going to be good to go. This guy had about 10 collections. 10 collections on his report. And I was like, remember when I told you, you got to have your awareness up? Your awareness is up, and what I was telling you at that time was that you need to protect what we put in place for you. You need to be aware that every action that you take, monthly payments, amount of credit that you get, credit cards, the way you use them, everything. I told you those actions that you take when you use your credit is going to make certain results, and those certain results are going to have consequences. And now, years later, the consequence is hurting him from buying that new home. So what I told him, I said, this is what we're going to have to do. Now, this is talking about somebody that has money. He has money. Has money. That's not the problem. That's not the problem. He has money. But he has those 10 collections. And when I looked at him, and I was like, you could do this one way. We got 2 ways we could do this. We could do this the aggressive way, or we could do this the passive way. The aggressive way is going to be validate, verify, bureaus, furnishers, come back the next month, 45 days, and then we see what the results are and we keep moving forward. That's the passive way. Takes about 3 to 6 months to know exactly what's going to pan out. Aggressive way is we hit and move forward. We do a verification validation with furnishers. We do verification validation with the bureaus, but the difference is in 45 days, whatever is verified, we move forward. Even if it's not necessarily a 100% validation, we look to move forward because he wants to get into that house. He wants to get into that house. If looking at the 10 collections, if I just cut it in half at 50%, if it was just at 50%, let me use it. At 50%, make sure that you can see that on there. Yeah, you can see that. If we did it at 50%, I'm estimating that he would be minus about, I would say about $7,500. Because he had some credit card debt. He had some debts that I did not really get into it with him on the phone about it, but I was like, man, you know, you shouldn't have these. He's in his 40s. I think I met him when he was in his 20s, and he's in his 40s now, or 30s, and he's in his 40s now. And I was like, man, you shouldn't have, you know, you really shouldn't have had those types of debts on there. But so we got one-way passive, which is the way that most people are able to tolerate, because it doesn't put stress on your financial situation. When we do the passive way for credit repair, we are actually, that's put in place because most people are just not at that awareness level of, I'm going to be full steam aggressive on getting this stuff done. Some people are, but most people are not. So what we do with the passive method is we let you as a customer see the process, how it works. You get that understanding, that awareness, and then we start saying, okay, this account, this is what's happened with that account. Now we suggest that we move forward this way on that account. What do you think about that? And what happens with customers, they would get that awareness level comes up. They say, well, if I want to get to my goal, this is the action I need to take. This is the result, and I'm going to have these consequences. And then they're going to be happy. Some people get stuck. Some people get stuck, and they just never want to move out of that. They know, but they don't want to move and take that specific action that we need them to take to be able to get them where they want to be faster. I'm just saying faster. You know, we will get the job done, but every situation is different. Everybody's situation is different. So now, so you see this here. So now what I want to do is I want to motivate you in a different way. I want to show you, because when you play the lottery, you play the lottery because you want to, that you have the possibility of the big win. I'm going to show you how you can have the big win without playing the lottery, using the money that you already would be spending on somewhere. Everyone has to pay to live somewhere. Everyone has to pay to live somewhere. So let's, and for you smart mouth people, I'm not talking about the person living on the corner over there. They are in a way paying a price. So I'm going to give you some examples, some real life examples. This here is my first office building purchase. And let me show you how I came to that decision. And when I came to the awareness of what I was paying, which I was always paying it, but in my mind, I ran the numbers and I was like, this does not make sense. Here's an opportunity. I got with my wife and we talked and we went through the pros and cons. She was like, if you own the building, you got to pay the tax, you got to take care of the building, the heat, all those things. But let me show you the end result of me making that first commercial building purchase that I put my own business in. First, what I was doing, and I want to talk this here too. I had wrote a book in, I think it was like 1994, 1995, and it was called Stop Making Your Landlord Rich. I was selling it for $5. I would just put it in a tiny classified ad. And that was because when you rent and lease office space, when you rent a home from somebody or apartment, you are making the landlord rich when you do that. You are making them rich. Now let me show you real quick. I was renting a space at a place down the street from where I ended up buying the building from. I was paying $850 a month. That means that I was paying $10,200 a year. Yeah, I'm using the space, everything's provided, electric, everything was included. I'm not sure if I don't think the electric was included. Maybe, yeah, the electric was not included. I did have to pay my own electric, but the bathrooms were clean, you know, they took care of stuff. I didn't have to take care of anything. I started running the numbers. Now, I had a 2-year, yeah, at that time, no, I had a 1 year. I had always just, I don't know, maybe I'm lucky, but I would not sign a 3-year lease. Or no, I did do a 3-year lease. I had a 3-year lease. And when the 3rd year was coming up, I had saw a building that was for sale, and I told my wife about it, and I was like, I don't want to renew that lease because look at what we've paid. For the 3 years, we had paid $30,600 is what we had paid over those 3 years to the landlord. That did not go in our pocket. So what we ended up doing is we bought that building. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just average this out over 15 years because it's been that period of time or close to it. Is over 15 years I would have paid $153,000 to the landlord, and that's not if they raise the rent. And they always would raise the rent after the 3 year, the lease. They always raise it, always raise it. So I would have paid, if they didn't raise it, $153,000. Now, what we did is we saw that building that was for sale, and I'm going to use this example here. We paid cash for that building. We did not get a mortgage on it. But for all of you that try to be like, well, I don't have the money to buy it outright, I'm going to show you the example on my own home. I did not buy my house cash outright. So I'm going to get, for you smarties, I'm going to give you that example too. So we negotiated down on the deal for $43,500 purchase cash. Over 15 years, and we, you know, did some painting and stuff in there, the new carpet, that was about $6,000. So over 15 years, this is what we would have put in our pocket rather than to the landlord. But also the current value of the property now is $200,000. That's $353,000 asset plus cash in our pocket. Stop making the landlord rich. Make yourself rich. This is just one example. Now, I'm not one of these real estate gurus. I know they know all types of different ways to even make this even better. If I would have rented it out, I've had people offer to buy this building for over $200,000. I've had people offer to rent the building, to rent it, because it's just a nice office space, a doctor's office type space or accountant office type space. People offer to rent it for $2,500 to $3,000 a month. It's a very nice, like if someone wants a single office building for themselves, it's perfect for them. I could probably rent it now. That was way back when we had first got it. I could probably rent it now for $5,000 a month, but I have one of my companies in there. But this is just a simple, like a very simple elementary way of looking at how your wealth, that for money you would have already spent, that you're going to spend anyways, not coming up with nothing new. You're going to spend this money anyways, and this is what it's worth over time. And I think what stops people is people look at things as they live tomorrow, but they make their actions with doing stuff. They don't, well, they live today, but they actually live, like, think about living somehow tomorrow. And they're like, that's too far away, so I'd rather just use this money now rather than looking at what it could build for me in the future. Now, let's look at the example for my home. So this is my home. And again, we are going to stop. My goal, I don't want any landlords to get upset with me. My goal right now is we're going to stop making the landlords rich. Repeat that. Stop making your landlord rich if you don't own your home. So now, the going rate, this is what was going on back in 2004 when we purchased our home. The going rate, now I know the years is longer, but I just did this so it, you know, to get it written down quicker. Going rate for our neighborhood, houses are very luxury type houses. $3,250 a month is the going rate. It's that's what it was then. It'll probably be more than that now. That's what it was then. This is way more than that now. So if we were to pay the landlord over 15 years, this is what we're giving to the landlord. Right there. That's what we're giving to the landlord. And the people we bought our home from, they had actually built it, so they probably paid a lot less for the home. But we ended up buying the house from them for $352,000. Principal, interest, and taxes, $2,250 per month over 15 years. This is what I've paid the mortgage company right there. Right here, if you just look at this, elementary, you just look at this. This is why, and I'm not saying like, you know, people like Grant Cardone and some of these other real estate guys that are like, I don't own my home or whatever. I'm telling you, they don't own their own home maybe because of certain situations that they want to be able to move around. But I'm telling you, for you, the average family, you want to own your home because that's where your wealth is. You're not into doing commercials and seminars and workshops where you're charging $20,000 and $25,000 for people to come in and watch other people talk. You got your kids and your family, and you're just trying to make sure that you get by, and that, you know, years later you have something that you can sell for retirement or pass on to your family. So after 15 years, $405,000 what I paid the mortgage company, but we can look right here, I already saved $180,000 over leasing. Right there, that's just right, you see that right there. Like I could, game over with just that right there, $180,000. What could you do with $180,000 over time for 15 years? I could tell you what I did is I invested. I bought other real estate. I ended up doing, I think, 4 flips that we did with savings that we had from not paying lease at another building for the other building, and not having to pay the amount that would have had to been paid for renting a property. That money sits there, and if you do the right thing with it, you'll be able to multiply that money. So I did 4 flips, didn't really like real estate game, got out of that. But, you know, we did what we did. And we turned that money over into other things, like this building that I have here. The one that I'm in now, the old bank building. I don't know why I say old, but it used to be a bank building. It is like new, fortified. I mean, you can't even get a building like this. You know, banks are going to build solid buildings. I mean, solid. Security system to the max, everything. So I'm going to stop saying old bank building. It's just a former bank building. This building here is worth $1 million, and I own it. Like, no mortgage on it. So that shows you from what I did, from just being able to save money here, do flips, which I'm not saying you need to do flips. We're just talking about just saving money and doing the right things with that money. You will be able to build wealth for you and your family. So looking at this right here, $180,000, you're already ahead of the game, and you've stopped making the landlord rich because you decided to keep that $180,000. But wait, it even gets better. We're not even talking about the tax benefits that you get from owning a home. We're not talking about the non-monetary appreciation of you having your home and you don't have no landlord knocking on your door, you know, making sure, hey, you're taking care of the carpet, or calling the landlord, I need to get the toilet unstopped up, or I need to call the landlord because I want to paint my kid's room yellow or green, or hang something on the walls in my kid's room. You don't have to do that stuff. It's yours. You want to know one of the things we did at our house is that we did the basement was cleared out, and we made 2 workout rooms, and we made a theater room. Like we don't have to ask anybody's permission to do none of this. This is my house. This is our house, my family's house. We put a pool outside, a heated pool. We don't have to call a landlord. That's our decision. When you own your home, you make the decisions. You're the boss. You're the boss. Now, you're already ahead of the game, $180,000. You use that money, you utilize it, and you put that money to work on something. You play with some of it, and you put some of it to work. Like what I tell my employees, when you have windfalls of money, you have your play with money, because money is a tool. And if you can't enjoy life, then why have money? So you put a little bit for the play money. You put a little bit for the savings. And then you think about, if you're of the mindset of looking at something that you can invest in so your money can make money for you. That's it right there. So we're already ahead of the game, $180,000. But wait, look at this. My wife wants to move, and we found a property that was acceptable to me, because I love my house, but we found a property that's acceptable to me, and I said, well, if we can get it at the right price, I would consider moving. So we had the agent come in and appraise our home, and she said that just looking at it the way it is right now, I would list it for $625,000. So now you're looking at, and I don't think I did this number here right, but let's just, it's 352, but let's just say, yeah, 352. That's what that should be. So you have our 352 that we bought it for. You have the value. You got 273,000 that from what would be the difference on what we bought the home for. And if you added that 180 in there from what we didn't pay to the landlord, you would be $453,000 on that. But if we decide to sell the home, we're already going to be ahead, because I owe a little bit over $200,000 on the house, just barely a little bit over. So you can see that if we decide to sell, we're going to make put a lot of money in our pocket. We've already over the years put money in our pocket, and we've been able to utilize that money. So now the next thing I want to talk about is right here. I want everybody that is still watching this video, I want you to start thinking about it. I want you to write it down on a piece of paper. You need to get your mindset right. You need to live today. Stop thinking about stuff that happened in the past. Stop thinking about things that could potentially go wrong in the future. Start living today. Start understanding that the actions that you take today, they do have consequences. The consequences could be good, consequences could be bad. So when you take those actions, look at, and don't stop taking an action because of fear. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, if we go back to my business associates example, don't get credit cards and don't pay them. That's an action that you don't want to take. But if it's an action where you're like, hey, I want to change my life, I want to start a business, I want to, do something that can build wealth, make an investment or something like that, learn about that investment and then take action, because the consequences could be a windfall for you in the future. And that's something that will build over time. And don't have that lottery ticket mentality when you're doing anything. When you're repairing your credit, don't have a lottery mentality. And when you're investing, don't have a lottery mentality. And I kind of skipped with that there. So get rid of the fear. False evidence appearing real. Get rid of the fear. The best way to get rid of the fear, write down what you want. What do you want? I want to have good, excellent, superior credit, whatever it is. Write it down, and then you go backwards. So if it's, I want to have excellent credit. And if we were to go backwards in a sense, what mentality do you have to have excellent credit? What is the mental thinking? And then you go ahead and get that mindset right so you can move forward. Because if you don't have the mindset right, you're going to be living in tomorrow, because you're going to be like, it didn't work the last time, or if I do this, this might happen. You're going to be setting yourself up for disappointment in advance. And that's what's going to make it not work also, because the thoughts you put out into the universe are the ones that's going to come back to you. So if you already have it in your mind, it's not going to work, or you already have it in your mind of the doubts, you're going to just bring on doubts, and you're not going to take the actions. You're not going to live today, number one. You're going to be living in the past. And then number two, you're not going to take the right type of action. You're going to do the wrong actions, and you're going to bring bad credit. You're going to keep the bad credit instead of being able to go to excellent credit. A lot of people, when they come to us, they have this, it's like they have two minds. They're thinking, okay, I want to have good credit. I come to you, I want to talk to you, and I want to do it. And when I talk to my reps and the people that don't sign up, like you have the group that'll sign up, you have the group that will not sign up. The group that does not sign up, when I listen to those conversations, because we record the calls here, when I listen to them or I talk to the reps and I say, well, what happened? I get the sense that those people are living in the past. It's like they're already living the disappointment. Like if I do it, I'm going to pay, and this is going to happen. They're living in the past. They don't even expect good things to happen to them. And it's not just even with credit repair. They're waiting for their relationship to break down. They're waiting for to move to another job, because they're on this cycle where they work a job for 1 or 2 years and then they move to another job. They're ready for relationships to fall apart. They're either in a 1-year cycle, 2-year cycle, 3, 4, 5-year cycle. This is how the people work. You might even have that type of experience. Even for me, there's things that I work on constantly to get myself out of a cycle. It is a thought process first. It is not the end result first. It's the thought process, the mindset. Get the mindset right, you will get here. So, and to give you an example, so back to that example, we have the people that they don't sign up because they just live in that cycle. And they're already before they even sign up, they're in that cycle. And then we have people that sign up and they're in that cycle and they do everything to not break that cycle. So that's when it go back to what I had said earlier, is that they are not willing to take that action. And it could be because of fear. It could be because of just anything. They're afraid of disappointment. So moving forward, you put your goal down, and then you do everything to get your mind right. If you're working with us, you only have to work on this for yourself. We tell people, work on this. Because if you work on this is going to fall in line. Because when we give you instructions on what we need to do for you, when it gets to that point, if you're either the passive or the aggressive way, no matter which way you choose, it's going to get to a point where a certain action is going to be required by you. And you have to be willing to follow through with that action. And if you're not going to get right there. You're just not going to get there. All right, I'm going to end the video here. If you need help with your credit, please visit my website, thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different. So make sure you go to the website. That's the Credit Repair thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different. When you see that video, you will see my 8-point validation process and my 2-phase settlement process. Just like I said earlier, it ends up being aggressive, but we use a passive way for people who are not of the mindset yet to go after something aggressive. And then we have an aggressive way where if you need to get it done, it's going to be aggressive. We're not talking about doing anything like credit sweeps. We're not talking about that. We're talking about approaching creditors, furnishers, and getting some type of action. If you don't have copies of your credit reports, everything starts there. Get your credit reports. Go to the website, www.your, that's a Y-O-U-R, the number 3, scores. www.your, and that's a 3, the number 3, scores.com, and get your credit reports. You're going to get all 3 scores, all 3 reports, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. Also, very soon, we're working hard on getting this. We're going to have the FICO scores, and you'll be able to see exactly everything that a car dealer will see, mortgage company will see, and you will know if you'll be able to get approved. We're going to have that. It's going to be on the different FICO score models. Next thing is, if you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters. They're free. Grab those. Links below this video. It has 3 letters: statute of limitations letter, debt validation letter, and the cease and desist collection activities letter. Let me start with statute of limitations letter. All debts have a statute of limitation on them except student loans, which has a 25-year statute of limitation, which is crazy because it really doesn't end even with 25 years. But they have a statute of limitations. It varies from state to state. It could be as low as 3 years. It could be as high as 15 years, certain states, or 10 years. If a debt is past the legal statute of limitations, the debt collector, or even the original creditor, as long as they haven't taken you to court, gotten a judgment, they cannot collect on that debt. If you make a payment on it, 1 penny, $1, whatever, you reset the statute of limitations time, or time barred time. That's the word that is in the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act, is time barred debt. But most people know it by statute of limitations. If a debt collector has that debt, is past legal statute of limitations to collect, all you have to do is send them the letter that I give you, and they will stop coming after you. They cannot come after you. You do not have to do a debt validation. You don't have to, nothing about proving the debt. All you have to do is show them, according to the laws in your state, that they cannot collect on that debt. The next one, cease and desist collection activities letter. This is a letter that I developed to stop debt collectors who know they don't have all of the information to collect on the debt, and to let them know that you're going to be asking some questions for them to provide information just in case they're thinking about taking this forward to maybe a potential lawsuit. That you are not going to just sit back and relax. You're going to ask them the questions that they don't expect you to ask them, and make them provide documentation. Most debt collectors will run when they get that letter because they're just like, let's go after we just bought $40 million worth of bad debt. This person here sent us this letter. Let's just forget that person. Let's just go after all these other thousands of people who don't know. Let's go and get their money. This person here, we don't even want no one to even know about that letter. That's what that letter does for people. And then I also give you a debt validation letter, because some debt collectors will say, hey, you're going to pay, we got these statements, and that's just so you can have a back and forth. But it works. It does really well. You should grab them because it just does really well. Thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel. Please post your comments and questions. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. Thank you.